Damn.
Apparently, Lars Sullivan might be done
Because of the all the stuff, yeah.
Yep. Apparently, it's all of the head stuff is just it's too much for WWE to deal with. So they're basically going to be like, yeah, go do your thing.
Has he been showing up? Because that was another thing we've been hearing. Like after he had a couple episodes in a row, he just stopped coming to the shows.
Yep. Supposedly he hasn't even been anywhere near the.
Well, I mean, I feel bad for the guy. I wasn't a fan of his, and I wasn't really looking forward to his call-up. But, like, I feel bad for the guy if he legitimately just can't handle whatever is happening and is falling by the wayside as a result. That is unfortunate. So,
yeah.
So I don't wish him ill will, obviously, because that's just an ignorant thing to do. But I hope whatever he needs to do, I hope he does it. And if he is going to come back someday, I hope he comes back and just tears the house down and, you know, works better than, like, he can work. I'm not saying he can't work, because that's another false statement. But I'm not a fan of his style. I'd like to see he seemed very generic to me. That's, again, my personal thing. You can disagree with that if you want. But supposedly he's done, so. But if you're a fan of Jason Jordan, there's been a long talk for a while. He's not coming back to in-ring performance at all because of his neck issues. But don't fret. He's starting to sit in on creative meetings. And that's not a bad thing, because he clearly has some talent. Like, yeah, he got saddled with a pretty crappy character. But the dude is definitely talented. He has stuff to bring to the table. So I think it's going to be great to see what he can bring, and he can
have him find his new spot.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's worked out really well for Tyson Kidd.
Sure.
No reason it wouldn't work out well for him.
I think he's got like you said, he's got a good head on his shoulders. I think at the end of the day,
but not a good neck.
You know, it's one of those deals. It's one of those deals where in this day and age, you have to be able to roll with the punches, and I think a lot of the older crowd can't do that, which is why they're doing a complete revamp of everything.
Which is ironic, because they've got Jarrett on the creative team now.
But Jarrett's always had a head for the business.
Because of his dad.
As long as he wasn't booking himself as champion.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I've ever had a problem with Jeff Jarrett in his entire... That I hated how he booked himself to be NWA champion for 3 years. Like, that bothered the hell out of me. But everything else that he's ever done, I've been okay with. So... Yep. But yeah, so at least there's some good things happening there. Also on the rumor mill, Cena and Samoa Joe could be a WrestleMania match, and I would like to see that.
I'm down for that. They broke in together at UWF.
Yes, they did.
And it does sound like that's the direction they're heading.
And again, I'm totally down with that, and I think a lot of people would
be. We said it last week that there was no set match for Cena yet. Well, there you go.
So maybe we'll see something about that on Sunday.
Possibly.
Quite possibly. So, again, it'd certainly be better than an Taker, which would just be like, oh, God, please don't die.
Pretty much.
That's exactly what it is, too. Now Taker matches. Whatever you do, please
don't be a cripple. Don't be a cripple.
Yeah, you don't want to Dynamite Kid up yourself.
No.
Poor guy was crippled for like 20 years. Okay. But let's talk about some positive news that came out of the week. We reported last week that Harley Race had lung cancer and it was terminal. Now they're saying it's actually not terminal, so that's very good news there. He does still have lung cancer, that is a thing, but it's not going to be a definite going to kill the guy. So,
I mean, lung cancer at his age, it's pretty much going to do its business, but
it's not the end of the world situation.
It's not. Oh yeah, in 2 months you're gone.
Right.
But yeah, prepare for the worst, because at his age,
not a good
the worst is coming.
Not a good situation to be in, and Glenn will tell you, cancer sucks.
Oh yes, it does.
Glenn's been there, guys. You all know that. If you've been listening to our show, you all know. But let's talk about alcoholism first off. So we got a story about Foxy here. Apparently, Arn Anderson got terminated, if you want to believe the dirt sheets and everything. That Arn's termination came over the fact that he basically let Foxy go to the ring. Basically, he let Foxy do a Jeff Hardy at what was that pay-per-view?
Victory Road 2014.
Victory Road.
Yeah.
Basically, that's what happened. And Foxy has apparently been in no condition to perform for a while. She's been showing up at shows drunk. They offered her rehab. She turned them down, and she just hasn't been seen since. If this is going to be her unprofessionalism, then I think it's time to let her go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to be like that. I say, get out the door. I know there are people in our group who are fans of Foxy, but in my opinion, she doesn't add anything to the table and hasn't added anything. And the only thing that I ever heard anybody actually say that I agreed with was that it was great to see more women of color in WWE, but guess what? She can easily be replaced there with people way more talented than her, because Naomi's there, Ember Moon is there, Tamina's there.
And we got all the Asian QTs.
Yeah. We've got the Hispanic representation. Sasha Banks is half black. She's world's talented than Foxy, so yeah, I don't think she adds anything, and if she's gone, I'm not gonna be sad about that. I just, I'm sure she'll get plenty of indie dates, or she'll go do something else.
She can go back to the Hawaiian Tropic.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then, last thing is the last piece of WWE news, at least. So there's a Twitter war going on between Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, and it is one hell of a war.
It's basically straight fire.
It is, just like this podcast, not safe for work. Ronda's dropping F-bombs, and Becky and Charlotte are hitting her below the belt. Other people like Lacey Evans are getting it.
Well, because Ronda's using the word fake. And
right.
Everybody, other wrestlers, male, female, doesn't matter, everybody's getting pissed.
Yeah. Here's something interesting that I saw.
Before you go on, even Misha Tate is saying that a good chunk of this is actually real. Ronda doesn't have a sense of humor when you start bringing her family into things.
Mm-hmm.
So whether you want to buy into that or not is, because we've all seen, I've seen videos of Ronda having fun. So I know she's got at least somewhat of a sense of humor, but don't know about when you start bringing family into things. And, Misha Tate probably knows Ronda better than most people as a MMA competitor and former opponent. There's a good chance that some of this Twitter war might actually have some real life beef in it.
Now, I'm not surprised. And now I actually saw something interesting. This might have been in our group, actually, but somebody said something. It was over the whole thing, like, oh my God, I can't tell if this is a work or a shoot. And somebody said, why are we concerned whether it's a work or a shoot? It's getting people talking, it's creating buzz, it's creating interest, and it's way more interesting than anything else going on. So if they're working everybody, great. If they're shooting, great too, because it's getting everybody talking. And I kind of agree with that.
Oh, I agree with that. I just worry.
Well, I worry too, but I'm all about this feud right now, because ever since that was Ronda's promo still sucked. There's no denying that. But her straight up shoot on Raw to close out the show was actually pretty good. And I'm just like, I don't think that was a work. As she just started screaming into the microphone.
Well, she's not used to being scripted. You know, anything outside of WWE she did on her own.
Yeah, but she's in that same Roman boat where she probably should have gotten some scripting.
Oh, no. Probably, yes. But she's not used to being scripted. So when they let her off her leash a little bit and let her do her thing, yeah, it's going to get a little nuts. That's why I think at the end of Raw, she was a little off her leash. They're like, yeah, go out there and do your thing.
So yeah, again, I'm following it, kind of, sort of, but
I'm following it only for the sense of I don't want something bad to come out of it. Like I said, I'm if they let Ronda off the chain a little too far, and she takes it a little too far with even Charlotte, takes it a little too far with Charlotte or Becky in the ring, I'd worry about that. But she's a professional, so But
here's the other thing: if you let her off the chain and you have to reel her back in, don't immediately give her crap for that.
No. Just
remember when they
chalk it up to a learning process.
Remember when they told go out there and whatever you say, just say it and speak from the heart. And he's like, okay. And then when he started talking about Vince, they were forced to cut him.
Yeah.
Like, son of a bitch. Like, I know he didn't necessarily get heat for that, but still. That's a perfect example.
Yeah. But I think you have to internally know where the limits are. Like, well, Punk knew he was going to push the right buttons by bringing Vince into it. And the McMahon family. It's like, there's certain things that you probably just don't poke at. But hey.
Well, according to Ronda, you can't poke at her family either, but...
Correct.
You know what I always hated about that kind of stuff, though? The one that always got me was the Stephanie McMahon Paul Heyman feud from a few years ago. It was when Triple H and Brock were facing each other, and Paul would try to say something to Stephanie, like, just imagine what your children would think. And Steph would grab the microphone and be like, don't you dare bring my children into this. That is crossing the line. That is not, that was the line breaker. And I was like, oh, that's cool. That's straight fire. And then immediately Stephanie's like, hey, Paul, your children are going to see you as a big failure. And I'm like, wait a minute. You just said it's not okay to talk about someone else's children.
Mm-hmm.
That hypocrisy crap.
It's a double standard.
And Steph wasn't even like... Steph, I think she was supposed to be the babyface in that match, but she clearly wasn't. But, again, double standard stuff. But we got to switch gears here. We got to get off the E and get to the NJP dubs. The big news, and I'm actually really surprised about this, because I thought Jushin Liger was going to wrestle till he was dead. I legitimately never thought this guy was going to officially retire. But Jushin Liger has officially announced he is, after Wrestle Kingdom 14, he is calling it quits.
Well,
officially official.
Did you read the question? Basically the what do you call it? The press conference that New Japan posted. I read through the whole thing. Basically, what he had said was he had every intention on continuing to wrestle. However, while training to fight Ishimori, and then even during the Ishimori match, he realized, these guys are just getting a little too much for me. So maybe it's time for me to step aside.
Yeah, it's finally, the whole thing is finally just catching up with him, I guess.
So from what I understand, he is going to be living at the dojo. He's been living there for a couple of years, from what I understand.
I'm not surprised by that.
He's going to continue to do, travel, meet and greets, stuff like